Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about Fotospeed products, and recently Fotospeed contacted me and said, "Oh mate, do you want to try some of our papers?" I said, "Yeah, go on then, stick some over and we'll see what we can do in a darkroom." So here it is. They sent me a couple of samples of papers and also some chemicals. So Fotospeed is a British company that began in the 1980s as a family-run darkroom printmaking manufacturer, and today they offer a wide range of products including papers and chemicals and hardware and also photographic accessories, and it's also for analogue and digital. So when we first started our journey into film photography or darkroom printing, the common question is, well, what film, what paper, what chemicals do I buy? And there's a whole array of answers. If you go online, most people prefer the popular brands, the Ilfords and your Kentmeres. And even when I first started out, I never heard of Fotospeed at all because the name never really came up when I was asking questions. And I first knew of the brand Fotospeed when I wanted to start toning my prints. I went online, had a look for sepia toners, and Fotospeed just kept coming up. So I bought a packet and I was surprised with the results. I made a video on that a few years ago. So that was kind of my first time of knowing what Fotospeed were about. And sometimes being relatively cheaper than some of the other brands out there, I started using Fotospeed's stop bath and also their fixer, and still do to this day. I had used Fotospeed's paper developer PD5 in the past, but I just found that it didn't store as long as my other paper developers at the time, so I stopped using it. And like I said, Fotospeed contacted me recently and said, "Do you want to try out some of our papers?" And I said yes. I said, "Well, send me some chemicals as well, Fotospeed chemicals, so I can put the whole lot together and use just Fotospeed products for this video." So Fotospeed sent me 2 boxes of their black and white paper, and I've never used Fotospeed's paper before. You know, you kind of stick to what you know and what works best for you. You don't chop and change. I've always been a Kentmere and Ilford man. And with the chemicals, they sent me a film developer, which is called FD10. They sent me the print developer, PD5, we just spoke about that, and also the fixer and stop bath that I've used quite often in the past. So for my shoot, I went to a place called the Benbridge Windmill, and it's not too far from where I live. The conditions were perfect with the sun shining on the windmill and big ass fluffy clouds in the sky. Now I had to wait around for some of these shots because just waiting for the clouds to come over, and sometimes when the cloud come over, the sun behind me was behind cloud and I didn't want the windmill in shade, only for a couple of shots. Mostly I wanted it in the sunlight so I could get that shadow striking down the side of the mill. I took with me the Bronica ETRS and also a roll of Foma Pan 100. And my whole idea was just to get various compositions using no filter and also an orange filter, the orange filter, just so I could separate the clouds from the sky, turn the blue sky a little bit darker, make the white clouds pop. So that was the shoot with the Bronica ETRS and a roll of Foma Pan 100. The rest of it, I did everything in Fotospeed, so the film development and onto the darkroom printing as well. So that's it, 15 shots taken, real simple photography really, just simple incident reading. When the sun was out I was at f11 2/50th of a second, and when the sun went in slightly I was just a stop under at 1/25th of a second, f11. And just some simple compositions around here. Obviously I was looking at where the sails were coming in and out of the windmill on the frame, but I think I've nailed it, so I'm going to get back and develop it in Fotospeed's FD10 developer. I've never used that before. It's a concentrate developer, so it's going to be 1 part to 9, whatever the massive dev chart says. So when I get back I'll have a look, see what the massive dev chart says for the Foma Pan 100 film for that developer, and hopefully we'll come back with some nice negatives. I did use an orange filter just to try and pop the sky a little bit, and I did have to wait for quite a while for some cloud to come over. I didn't want just pure blue skies, so the idea was to use that orange filter and try and pop the sky a little bit, make the blue sky a little bit darker and make the clouds pop. Hopefully it's come out all right. Let's get back and we'll see what these papers and developers are like. For the film development I used their FD10 developer, and I've never used this stuff before, at least I don't think I have. And it's a concentrate one-shot developer that comes in a 1 litre or 5 litre bottles and is mixed with a ratio of 1 part to 9 or 1 part to 14, whatever floats your boat. So I developed my film with the FD10 1 part to 9 for 8 minutes, as it says on the massive dev chart. There was no information for that film on Fotospeed's data sheet, but there is other films on there if you need to research it. So my 700ml of soup consisted of 630ml of water and 70ml of developer, and I just developed the film with the FD10 in a normal way. And after I'd stopped and fixed the film with what Fotospeed gave me, I washed the film, put it out to dry, and once they were dry, I had a look at them, and they came out really, really nice. So now's the time to start printing. I've got the 2 boxes here. This is 50 sheets of 16 by 12, and this is 10 sheets of 16 by 12. This is their oyster, a little bit like Lustre on Kentmere or Pearl on Ilford, and this is their gloss. So these are the papers that I'm going to be trying out in the darkroom. The first thing I wanted to do was make sure the developer was okay and the paper was as well. So I just did a quick max black test, make sure that this paper was hitting maximum blacks so I didn't get confused as I was printing, and it was. And then I chose the negative that I wanted to print and also a 2.5 grade filter, and then went ahead with normal test strips. My test strip was in increments of 2 seconds at f8 on the enlarger, and after looking at the tests and making one more, I went ahead with 12 seconds and a full-size print. The first print I did was on the gloss paper, and as it was coming through I did notice that the area at the bottom of the print was getting a bit dark. The grassy area was starting to get a bit dark, which did surprise me, and then once I stopped it and fixed the print, hung it out to dry, I noticed, yeah, it was a little bit black down the bottom, a little bit more punchier than I expected. So just out of interest, I grabbed a piece of Kentmere paper and I put that under the enlarger for exactly the same time. Developed, stopped and fixed that, washed it, had a look at that when it was dry, and that was a little tiny bit lighter. So it would appear that the Fotospeed paper is a little bit more contrasty than my Kentmere paper, but that's no problem because I've got filters to adjust that in the darkroom. So I ditched the 2.5 grade filter and I put a number 1 filter in, and I just increased the time to 15 seconds, did the print, no dodging, burning, and that one came out lovely, just like the Kentmere one did. Now we all know that film emulsion, speed, metering and film developer work hand in hand with your darkroom paper as well, so getting the balance just right just takes time and practice, and then it's a case of sticking to what you know and what works best for you. So I then went off and made a few more prints in the darkroom with a couple of other negatives, and they came out really nice as well. I'll just show you those now. So this is the first print I made, 2.5 grade filter, 12 seconds, and that's what I was talking about at the bottom of the grass area there. I saw it straight away and thought, blimey, that looks a little bit dark. So that's when I decided to have a little play and see what was going on. And that's when I took my normal Kentmere paper that I used and put that under the enlarger, exactly the same as this one, didn't change anything at all, put that on for 12 seconds, and now you can see the grass is a little bit more pleasing. It's there, I've got the detail in the grass, also the back fence. So that's when I thought to myself, this paper's a little bit more contrastier than this, but you know, like I said, it's just getting practice and knowing what the paper does for your photography. And that's when I went off and put number 1 filter inside the enlarger just to pull the contrast down a little tiny bit more, and just added a few more seconds to 15 seconds, and that print came out just as nice as the Kentmere one did. I then tried exactly the same with the what they call their oyster paper, a lustre if you like on Kentmere, or maybe Pearl on Ilford. It's not gloss, it's just got that nice little sheen to it, and that looks really nice as well. It's quite a nice paper, probably a lot easier to show on the video than that glossy paper is, but this was their oyster paper. So then I put one of the other negatives in the enlarger and did the same again, number 1 filter, and that's I did some test strips and got the right times for this. That's another view of the windmill. You can see I like getting my stuff coming in from diagonals. You can see it coming from the bottom there at the top. And then I did the same print, and this time I selenium toned this one in selenium toner just to see the difference. I can see a slight difference, and the paper seems to tone well. It's come out, it looks like looks a little tiny bit cooler than the unselenium toned one, but either way they're both nice. And then the last print I made, obviously back on the glossy again, because I've only got 10 sheets of the oyster paper. I don't want to waste that, but I've got 50 sheets of the gloss, so I could have a good old play with that. This was another scene that I did, a landscape version of the windmill, where you can see I've got the fence there, a little bit of greenery and all those clouds. And again, bags of tone in there, and I just think that number 1 filter managed to nail it on the head for me rather than the 2.5. I could have done split grading, I didn't go down that road. And I also put a vote out on the community area of the channel and asked people who uses Fotospeed RCVC paper. And only 3% said all of the time, 3% said sometimes, and 94% said I've never tried it. And that was on 225 votes. Interesting, isn't it? And I must admit, obviously, I've heard of Fotospeed paper in the past, but I've never reached out and bought any because I'm so used to using my Ilfords and Kentmeres. But the question is, will I buy Fotospeed papers in the future? Well, they've sent me these papers to play around with and try out, and like I said, I don't really gamble with buying another product if I'm already working with one and it works well for me, such as the Kentmeres and the Ilfords that I use. But do you know what? I think I'm going to stick Fotospeed on my list as well for papers in the future. And other than the contrast, I can't really see much difference in detail or quality or sharpness or anything like that between this, the Kentmere and the Ilford papers that I regularly use. So I'm definitely going to stick Fotospeed on my list for papers for my darkroom. And above all, I think it's great that these companies are still making papers and chemicals for us to shoot and use on our film photography. So there you have it, that's Fotospeed's RCVC glossy paper and their Oyster paper as well. Tried it out for the very first time. I'm impressed with the results, quite like the prints that I've made in the darkroom. Like I said, a little bit contrasty compared to my Kentmere, but who's comparing? It is just paper for the darkroom. Go and play, go and enjoy it, make some prints and have fun. I'll catch you next time.